All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we're going to be doing a red, yellow Sabo update, a pretty comprehensive one, because we have a lot of information to go over. We have a lot of data to go over. I'm very happy. I'm very pleased to announce that a lot of people were submitting data to the red, yellow Sabo stat sheet that I was talking about, or not to the stat sheet, but to the stat channel on the Discord. And guys, if you have not gotten in on that yet, you guys got to get in on it. We'll talk more about that in today's video. So real quick, let me go ahead and lay out the video so we can just dive straight into this because we have quite a bit of information to go over. First things first, we are going to head over to the Discord and we're going to check out the channel I'm talking about, and we're going to go over the results that we have so far. We got quite a bit of results, guys. Very excited to go over that stuff with y'all and check out the findings we've had. Okay, so that's first. After that, we are going to check out the two major deck lists that we're going to be going over today. The two deck lists that performed the best in those results that I was just talking about, that I was just referring to. After we check out those two deck lists, we're going to hop into 10 games on the sim, five games of each list, and then we'll wrap it up again by kind of going over the deck lists and talking about them and wrapping it up in that way. Okay, guys? You know what you're getting into now. I'll have everything timestamped in the general description. I'll have all relevant deck lists and links in the comment section below. You guys know the drill. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put them down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. The link is in the channel description. Come chat with us on there and get in on the action there. We're talking about One Piece pretty much 24/7. Okay. Now, let's do this, guys. Let's get into this. First things first, we actually have to go check out the Discord. Because we have to talk about, let me move my face out of the way. I'll actually move it down here for now and move the leader slide. So we have to talk about this channel over here. Notice right above my head, well, a little bit above my head here, red, yellow Sabo stats. You can hop in. So this is the VV Theory Discord, and the link to this is in the channel description on my YouTube if you want to hop on here. But I have a channel in here under VV's Corner. This is where all my stuff is pretty much for people to check out. You know, whatever my new video is for the day, I always post the new video for the day. Review my game. This is where people submit their VV labs. Then new video ideas, people will put ideas in here. New format discussion talking about 3C2L, the new format we came up with. And then there's red, yellow Sabo stats. This is the main one we're going to be talking about today. And for all the red, yellow Sabo enthusiasts, you need to be on here anyway, guys. Now, real quick, if you scroll all the way up to the very top of this, I'm going to let it just blast through scrolling up while we're talking. If you go all the way to the very top here, I have the entire information. I'll probably try to pin this later, talking about how to submit stuff for the results, right? So that way we can get some ideas on what the best decks are going to be. I brought this idea up in the last Red Yellow Sabo video, and these were the three versions of the deck: the removal control version, the trigger rush aggro version, and the mid-range tempo version. These were the three main ideas I brought up for people to try out, to start submitting data for, so we can get some ideas on how these decks are faring against the entire field. Because I just can't do it all myself, right, guys? This is a community project, and I show on here like how to submit your stuff. You can do it in this format or whatever. This is just a test one. This is not real results. But guess what, guys? Excuse me. A lot of people did this, and check out these results that came pouring in. People started submitting stuff, and with all this information, with notes, details, everything. Guys, if you're a red, yellow Sabo enthusiast, this is the place to be. And that way you can record your own results and submit them in that way. And one thing I do want to mention while I have this one up, this is a really good example by, I think the guy's name was Hackney. I think his name was Hackney. But he submitted his results like this. This is so perfect the way that they did it. I've had a few people submit results that I could not track because they didn't have if they went first or second, and that is relevant for what we're trying to do, guys. But check this out. He has the meta matchup on the left. This is exactly how I told people to do it. The meta matchup is on the left. Going first or second is after that. Did you win or lose comes after that. And then notes are just optional. You don't have to include any notes if you don't want to, but I do like when people include notes. Let me say that right now. I do like when people have the notes on there, so that way we know, like, yeah, I lost this matchup, but it was because of this, or I won this matchup, but I got lucky from a trigger. That's kind of relevant information to know, right? So we get a real strong grasp, a good idea of how the decks are actually performing. Okay, now with that in mind, let me jump all the way back to the bottom here. You know, results are always coming in, which is really nice, and a fourth list basically emerged from this. And now let's go ahead and let me show you real quick, guys. I compiled all the results And if you go to I'll link this in the comment section below as well. But if you go to this channel in the Discord, I have a pinned message here that has a Google Doc. You click on that, and it will go to this. I already have it up over here for you guys. All right, now let me move my face to the other side. There we go. This is the Google Doc going over all the information. I'm not going to go over every single row, but we're going to talk about some of the bigger matchups at least. But get this, guys. In the process of us going over the information and you know, trying out the lists and things like that, we came up with a fourth one because I only gave these first three. So let me break this down real quick, and we'll talk about all four of the different decks. The four major deck archetypes people are running right now for Red Yellow Sabo in OP09 in the West. So notice the top here says WL for each row here, or you know, for each, how do I say this? Each color has a W and an L, stands for a win and a loss. And on the left you have going first versus the deck and going second versus the deck. So it's compiled I tried to make it as, you know, simple but complex as possible, so we have as much information that's easily readable as possible. So check this out, guys. If it's the red list, so notice it goes red, green, dark blue, light blue, or teal. Here's how that's set up. Red is the Trigger Rush aggro decks results. Green is like the Revo Army, the pure Revo list. Blue is the control list, which I mentioned before, guys. That's starting to fall out of favor, and you can even see that in the results. We'll look at that a little bit more in a minute. And then last but not least, this was another version I highly recommended and people were trying out. It is a hybrid version of basically combining the green and the blue list together using 75% of the mid-range based tempo type list and 25% of the of the control list. Utility / control / removal, right? And real quick before I forget this, big shout out to all the people on here who these are the people. As soon as you submit data, I put your name on here, and I'll just keep going down with that as long as we have to for as many people who submit, because this is a community project, guys. So if you want your name on here, all you gotta do is submit some data on it. And this has been so much fun so far. I love looking at numbers and data like this. Some people, this makes some people a little bit sick, a little bit like, you know, nauseous. But hey, guys, I love looking at numbers like this, seeing the percentages, and seeing how things, you know, actually are going. So with that in mind, I want to talk about the Shanks matchup, Blackbeard, Doffy, Enel, and probably Jory Bonnie. Those are probably and Purple Luffy, if I didn't already say that. Those are the main matchups I want to look at. So let's go through this real quick, guys. First up, even before we go through that, notice the overall win-to-loss ratio that we're seeing against the field is excellent. Okay, so for example, except with control is struggling, guys. I think it's just not the time to play control unless someone can find a better control list than what we've been running, which is possible. The control list is in deep trouble right now, right? So check this out, guys. The aggro trigger list is 142 wins to 59 losses on the sim. And you have to understand, these are random players. This is not just my results. This is not just one player's results. It's all of these players' results. What is that, like? Yeah, it's this many, 20. Oh, nice. Excel counts for me down at the bottom right, behind where my head is. This is 20 submissions right here. 20 different people submitting results. Because I can never get, I think it ended up being like 500 games altogether. Yeah, look at this. You guys can't see because my head's in the way, but look at this. It adds everything up at the bottom right there. The sum is 533 results. I only submitted 12 of them. Okay, or 10. I think I submitted like 8 to 10 or something like that of these results. Now I still have my game. You know, we're gonna be going over 10 games on the sim today for me. But I really like how people are submitting these results, and it just so happens we're starting to see some trends. Like for example, with the trigger aggro list going first against Shanks, you've got about a 60% chance to win, or 66% chance to win, somewhere in that ballpark. We'll take that, right? We will take that. And 5 and 2 going second with the trigger aggro list. Now it looks like the pure Revo mid-range list is doing pretty well into it, going 4-3 and 1-1. We'll take that. You know, 4 and 3 going first, 1 and 1 going second. That's really not too bad. That's acceptable, right? It means there's a chance. Now the control list going first. Looks like it's just a hard loss so far. We don't have a lot of results on all these, so I'm going to try and focus on the ones we have more results in on, like 10 or more results preferably. But going 0-3 first against Shanks, that hurts. But going second, 2-0. So that matchup might end up becoming a coin flip, where it's like, okay, if I go second, I have a chance. If I go first, I might not. I might not have a very good chance. But then the hybrid mid-range list, so again, pretty much combining the green list and the blue list, is doing pretty well. They're going 27 and 20 going first, and 12 and 11 going second. So now we kind of have an idea, right? Okay, if I want to have a better matchup against Shanks, I want to go first. And by the way, I'm going to spoil it a little bit. I'm going to spoil a little bit. That is a common theme, okay, that I'm noticing with Red Yellow Sabo. We want to go first every single time. No matter the matchup, that is now our preference. That is what we want to get. Because we can establish so much tempo in that way that it really hurts other players' chances, you know, or other decks' chances at keeping up with us. Let me also see if I can zoom in here. It might let me zoom in. Let me go to 150. Oh, that's nice. Much better. Hopefully you guys can see this a lot better now. Let me try one more. Where's the zoom at? Let me try a little bit more. Is 200 going to be too crazy? No, that's actually perfect. Dude, this is perfect. Okay. That's my first time messing with the zoom feature on this spreadsheet. And like I said, I will have this link down in the comment section below. Okay, guys? So here we go. We already went over Shanks. Okay. Our Shanks matchup is not terrible, but going second, it's a little more of a struggle. Well, depending, unless you're running the control version, then it looks like it's the way to go. But otherwise, it looks like this is a very doable matchup for Red Yellow Sabo, no matter which deck you're running, especially the two main ones we're going to be featuring today, the aggro trigger list, or the trigger rush aggro list, and the hybrid Revo control list. Purple Luffy, same exact thing. There's just not enough results to go over right here in the middle, guys. We're going to completely skip over the... I need people to submit more results with the mid-range list and the control list going against these decks, because like we were saying at the bottom here, look at this. Only 46 games submitted so far with the mid-range list, and only 21 results submitted with the pure control list. Or, you know, I don't want to call it a pure control list, but with the control list. But anyway, so check this out, guys. It looks like our purple Luffy matchup is just favorable. If we go first, it looks like 18 and 6 with the trigger rush aggro list, and 16 and 5 with the hybrid Revo control list. 15 and 5 going second with the trigger aggro list, and 10 and 3 so far with the hybrid control list. Very, very strong. Red Purple Luffy, there's just not enough data, but I will say this. It looks like Red Purple Luffy starting to catch up. There was a point in time where it felt like Red Purple Luffy just could not beat a Red Yellow Sabo list. It felt like it was a free matchup. But now it looks like they're catching up. Or maybe they're just learning how to play against Red Yellow Sabo. Who knows? Now, Blackbeard, let's talk about this. That's correct. That's not a typo. And I was meticulously putting in every single result, guys, trying not to mess up anywhere, double, triple checking everything I could. 25 and 0 with the trigger rush list against Blackbeard. Now, that doesn't mean it can't lose, right? It doesn't mean that the Blackbeard can't win, but highly, highly favored into Blackbeard. Even as the hybrid Revo control list, this is 15 and 1, guys. 15 and 1 with that list. Very, very highly favored. But notice this with the control list, it's actually just 50-50 and slightly, it looks so far based off only 5 results, it's actually not favored going first at all. It's actually like 40-60 so far. It's actually, a little bit worse than that, but you guys get my point. But it looks like, now I will say this, it looks like every single Red Yellow Sabo list against Blackbeard, other than the control version, is just smoking Blackbeard. It's just absolutely smoking it. Not even close. These games are probably blowouts. 25 and 0, 15 and 1 against, again, this is just totally random players, not just one player on the sim. Okay, Smoker, we just don't have enough information on, unfortunately, for these two rows here. We just don't have the information. Look at this, 0 games played. We need people to submit this data later, right? Not enough here, 0-0. And it looks like the hybrid control version is pretty favorable into Smoker, though. That is one thing we can tell by, I think there's 9 results, so almost 10 results, and it's basically 7 and 2. That looks pretty good. Okay, Lucci. Now, we need to talk about Lucci. This is a pretty rough matchup. Of course, it always has been. Going first with the trigger rush version is actually going 6 and 3 currently. I would like for more results to come in for this matchup. That is only 14 results. I would like for us to get closer to 20 before I really make like a steady thing saying like, hey, this list can actually just beat Lucci going first. But it looks like, other than that, though, let me just say this. It looks pretty even, guys. Look at the hybrid version over here. It's gone 5 and 5 going first and 4 and 4 going second, which is, I think most people would accept those odds. Like, okay, cool. I feel like I can deal with that. I feel like I can actually, win at that rate, right? So good stuff there. Going down to, let's keep going because, again, we don't have enough information to really talk much about Lucci. Doffy, though, we have quite a bit of information here. This is the one list that the Trigger Rush version and Nico Robin. Randomly, Nico Robin is very good against the Trigger Rush version, but it's still very winnable. Blue Doffy is probably our hardest matchup for the Trigger Rush version. That and probably... No, that's probably... I would say that's it next. And then, of course, like we said with Lucci. So Doffy and Lucci are tough, but they're very, very winnable games, as you can see with these results here. And notice the the hybrid control version. Notice this, guys, 15-4 if you're going first. So this matchup will come down to a dice roll. If you can go first, you're looking at like a 65% chance to win or something. I didn't do the exact math, but you guys get the point. Like, you're going to win 2 out of 3 times, right? Whereas for going second against Doffy, 10 wins, 14 losses. It's an uphill battle going second, probably like a 40% win rate. We'll have to try to work on that, and maybe we need to improve our own game knowledge of that matchup over time. Then I will talk about these stats real quick because I do think it's accurate. I do think it's a very it's not a surprise for me. Like, we're about to talk about Katakuri. You want to talk about surprises? We're about to talk about Katakuri. But Blue Doffy, going 5-0 with the control list is not that hard for me to believe. I've said this before, guys. Blue Doffy is almost an easy matchup for the control version of Red Yellow Sabo. Now, the control version struggles in other areas, like we looked at, right? Let me click off. Notice up here, guys, going first against Shanks, it's just getting steamrolled. Against Blackbeard, it's all of a sudden a 50-50 matchup, which should be a 100-0 matchup. But it's just not, right? Or like a 90-10 matchup. And against Doffy, though, that's kind of the push and pull there. I also think the control version does not do well against Lucci. So I think you're basically sacrificing one matchup for the other. If you really want to be good against Doffy, well, then you're going to lose some consistency against other matchups. Oh, well, let's keep going. Good stuff there. Nami, there's just not enough data here to really say anything, except for the aggro version. It looks like there's exactly 10 results. 6-1 going first, 1-2 going second. Most people can live with that. That's pretty decent results. Black Yellow Luffy going first is rough but still winnable for the Trigger Rush aggro list. But going second, taking second away from them, look at this guy, 7-0. You know, we will take that. And even going first against it as the hybrid aggro list, or the hybrid control list, 3-0. We'll take those. Enel is a rough matchup, but very, very winnable for the Trigger Rush version. However, here is one matchup where the hybrid control version struggles. Going first against Enel, we're looking at a 6-10 ratio, which is still, you know, I've seen worse. Let me say that. I've seen worse, but that's still not too bad. 6-10 is very winnable, and 1-1 going second. We need more results going second against Enel. What else? Katakuri. Now, here we go. This was the absolute most mind-boggling stat of the entire, of all the numbers I put in. I thought surely this can't be right. But hey, apparently, like I said, again, this isn't my data coming in. This is me putting in the data from just countless other people, like 20 random people. Okay, look at this, guys. Going first versus Katakuri with the aggro list. So the list over here on the far left right here. So with the aggro rush list, or the Trigger Rush aggro list, it is going 5-3 first, going first against Katakuri, and 2-2 going second. That is the nicest thing to see, I have to say, because typically speaking, as a Red Yellow Sabo player, you know your Katakuri matchup is lost. Like, when you sit down across from them, you have like a 10% chance of winning that matchup, or 30%, like as a high number to win that matchup. But now, guys, look at this. I have to say, you know, out of like altogether, out of 24 results, because I have it, it's behind my head, guys. I can see the sum up here. Out of 24 results, only losing 6. Like, that's what is that, 18-6? That's very, very good across the board. Now, you know, there's only one game here from the mid-range list, or excuse me, from the total mid-range pure Revo list, and it lost going first, but that's okay. 5-3 going first with the Trigger Rush aggro list, 2-2 going second, 8-1 going first with the hybrid Revo list. Incredible, and 2-0 going second. You love to see it. I think the main, if someone were to ask me, like, well, why do you think that happened? I think Katakuri has had to switch gears a little bit, because now they're no longer running probably the same list as they used to, because otherwise they have no chance against Blackbeard. So I think they had to make some adjustments, and those adjustments ended up highly favoring us Red Yellow Sabo players. Okay, keep going. Not a whole lot of results against Bello Betty. Only 10 results altogether, and it looks like we are 9-1 against Bello Betty across the board. It's not really that hard of a matchup for us, guys. You just don't swing to give them trigger cards early on. Maybe drop them down to 3 life, and that's it. Because they typically won't be able to hit their new triggers off of that. But they could still hit the old triggers. But you don't put too much pressure on their life. You just eat up their board, and you just win out like that. Now the trigger rush version probably does have to go at life more aggressively, but even they're not struggling much with it over here on the left, as you can see. Okay, Bonnie. So this will be the last major one we go over. Very, very surprising data on Bonnie. The hybrid Revo version is 18-2. So that's a 9-1 ratio. 90% win rate right now against Bonnie. 16-1 going first. 2-1 going second. That is really good to see because Bonnie was always kind of a tough matchup, but very winnable. It looks like our new versions are just really kicking butt. Now, again, these are not live games. Most of these, if not all of them, are on the sim. And some of them I believe were ranked, and I forgot to like document which ones were and which ones weren't because they put in the notes, saying like, hey, this is a ranked game. But I just threw everything in, guys. I'm just trying to be honest. And then last but not least, you have Uda here. Not enough results really to talk about. Only 11 results altogether. But it looks like we're still pretty favored into green Uda. That was never one of our tougher matchups. Well, okay, guys, that is it. That is the list so far. Let me go back out to 100 zoom here, back to normal. And you guys can access this information. I will link it in the comment section below or hop on the VV Theory Discord if you want to help us out getting more results in. Like I said, I'll throw your name on the list and all that good stuff. Now, as we get into the decks here, let me go over one more thing. I'm hitting control. Is it zooming in? No, I don't like that. Hang on, let me do the version like this first. Okay, let's go over to here real quick. I want to talk about what each one of these versions are featuring. So when I'm saying trigger, rush, aggro, I probably should have said this first, right? But we're mainly referring to the version that Ricky G came up with, and that's the version I'm going to be using today. We're about to look at the deck list in a minute. That's the version I'll be using in today's 5 games with that version. For the type-based mid-range tempo list, that is going to be an overwhelmingly majority type-based deck. So like Big Mom Pirates, Revo Army, stuff like that, where it is literally just meant to be a play a card every turn on curve. No real special tricks. I'm just trying to outcurve my opponent. The removal-based control deck, I can't really explain. It's basically what the mid-range list is not, where you have removal built in, you have card draw built in through other means, maybe even like Goa combo control. That's why I have removal-based and combo control. I would even consider a lot of the Goa lists like these combo control decks, and I was considering those in our results. And then lastly, here's the one that kind of came up because I was saying, guys, you'll have to try this because I think I'm onto something. And this is using a 75% hybrid, a 75% Revo list with 25% utility, or I've seen some lists even run like 80% Revo with only 20% utility, right? So in other words, 40 cards in the deck are Revo and only 10 cards are not. So that's kind of the idea between the 75-25 list, right? Where it's like most of the deck is Revo with a little bit of tech built in. Now, the list we're mainly using for 75-25 today is not my list. We will look at that a little bit, but we're going to use a list that was slightly modified and people have been really enjoying. And it is this person named, it's the person on here named Sergio. Do I not have them on here yet? Let me find them. I could have sworn I had their name. Yeah, here it is right here, Sergio. This guy submitted a list we're about to look at now that ended up playing very, very well as the hybrid tempo list. So now we're done with all those numbers. I know that was a snooze fest for some people, but I absolutely love numbers. It's why I always timestamp stuff so you can skip over the boring stuff and hop to where you want to. So let's go ahead and check out the deck list first. So this actually, I guess since this one's already up, we'll check out the Trigger Rush version. This is Ricky G's original list, and he has modified it since then. We'll talk about that in a minute. He's going for even more consistent trigger bodies. Like, let's just get rid of this guy. We'll get rid of this guy. And we'll go a more Big Mom Pirates theme. With cards like Cracker, Smoothie, the other Charlotte Cracker. And then, I think he was replacing this with Pero Sparrow and this card with Moscato. For those who don't remember what Moscato is, let me type that in real quick. It's this card right here. 3 costs 4K, 1K counter, Big Mom Pirate searchable. Dawn times 1, it gets banish, and it has trigger. Play this card from hand by trashing a card from your hand. This gives you that much more ability to trash dead cards later in the game, like Tropical Torment. Because Tropical Torment early on is an absolute busted card, it feels like in a good way. But it's made that way where it's extremely good early in the game, but absolutely useless later in the game. Well, now it's no longer absolutely useless when we're trashing cards from our hand to play cards out from our life. So really good synergy there. This list is I think you guys are going to really like this list. Let me say that. This is the list here, though. We will talk more about it at the end of the video. But this is what we're running. Notice in this list, guys, every single card is either a trigger body, like not just a trigger card, but a trigger body, or a rush card. That's it. Even the 2K counters are trigger cards, right? Now, this is not a trigger body, but, okay, so Tropical Torment is the one exception. So it's either, but it kind of acts as like a rush card, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to pay 3 and rush one of your life cards down. But, okay, this is the one card that is not a trigger body or a rush card. It just flat out says you lose a life, right? Just really, really strong for the early game, again, especially against the 5-life leaders trying to cheat these cards into play. So really good stuff there. Now, and I will also link these deck lists in the comment section below for these 2 major ones we're going over today. So then there's one other one I want to go over. This is the hybrid version that Sergio modified and came up with. I think he used mine as like a foundation, the one that I linked. This is the one that I linked. I had it down here so everybody can see it. This is the original version. Notice how close it is. This is the original version of Red Yellow Sabo Hybrid that I just posted as a foundation list for people to build off of. And this is what the guy, this person in the server, his name is Sergio, this is what he came up with. I'm going to remove the leader so it all fits on 2 rows here. Look at this, guys. He got rid of the Jewelry Bonnies. He got rid of the Nico Robin, the 6-cost Nico Robin, and he went up 3 Sabos and 3 Ben Beckman. So that was just a 1-to-1 change out there. And then it looks like he made a few other mild adjustments here and there, putting in Cracker, putting in Satori. Or I might have been running Satori, I don't remember, but you guys get the point. Very minor adjustments here and there, and it looks like it's working out very well. Okay? All right, so those are the 2 lists that we're going to be running. Let's go ahead and get into the games. Okay? It's time to finally get into the games. Enough yapping, right? Enough yapping. Well, we'll continue to yap, but we'll start yapping about the games. So now it's time to see some gameplay. First up is going to be, this is the hybrid list, the list we just looked at from Sergio, based on the other list. Like I said, I think it's like just based off my 75-25 list with just adjustments made and you know, trying to amplify the deck and make it better and fine tune it better for this meta. Here it is, guys. This is the list here playing against Blue Doffy. Okay. All right. So volume is off. Speed is on 2x already. Perfect. And here we go. So this is my favorite of the 2 lists for those who might be wondering, because like I said, guys, the 75-25 list, I said it before, I think it's onto something. Like I think it can compete against any list, and it can, you know, kind of work its way out of any problem, especially as people get better and better at playing it. So here we go. Going to play out a Bello Betty. The Doffy got to go first, which is not ideal. That is less than ideal. We want to go first, typically speaking, with Red Yellow Sabo. They're going to swing for 7, cheating out this card. We did get a nice trigger there. That's why I love that card, Nami, and we were able to pop the Edward Weevil. We're going to swing in for 5. We're just going to poke cards out of hand or poke cards out of life so we can get full value out of our turn. I was considering playing out the Morley there so I can keep Lindbergh in my hand as a 1K counter, but I need to establish the biggest body I can that can give me the most tempo. And hey, if he has the 4-cost Trafalgar Law, he has the 4-cost Trafalgar Law. It is what it is. He's going to swing in for 8. We're probably going to take this. We can counter out, but I don't think we should. We're going to take this. Very good. They play out a Gecko Moria, and I think they were able to get back something they countered with last turn. It might have been like a Perona. Okay, so we're going to play out an Ivankov, and we whiffed the Ivankov, guys. That was double Beckman, and what else? I think it was a Kid and Killer. All right, so let's see. Yeah, double Ben Beckman and a Kid and Killer, guys. Whew. You hate to see it. It happens. That is one of the problems with running a hybrid list is you can whiff. So I'm going to go 5 into here. He counters out. I'm going to go Bello Betty. Notice I'm not over-committing to get rid of this board because I don't care if he attacks in with these 2 guys. He's not winning the game this turn. I'm going to try to get as much as value as I can out of this turn. He hits me with the Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. And see, that's where, man, if I had connected with that 5-cost Ivankov search, the game would have been that much further away, like that much harder for him to deal with. Okay, but the game's not over yet. We're going to smash in for 7 here. He thinks he can protect this card, but he really can't because I have a 5-cost in hand. Now, I only swung for 7 there instead of 8 because just in case he counters out, which I would have loved for him to counter out, right? I am okay with my opponent giving me 2 cards from his hand, going down to 2 cards in hand to save that character because I'm going to remove it anyway with a Nami if I have to. Well, now, since he chose to not save the card, I get the slightly more optimal play by playing out a Karasu and a Morley onto the board. Okay, so always keep your options open when you're considering your next turn. It's very, very important. Okay, so here we go. 9 Dawn turn for my opponent. They're starting to get up there in the Dawn count. You know, we're approaching the late game now. Turn 5. I'm going to be on 10 Dawn this turn. They play out Sengoku. They play out Jinbei, cheating out a Weevil. They're going to swing for 8. They did not have a card from the top. It looks like it didn't even show either. I think it might have been some type of event. We get a Satori trigger. Very nice. And now they can't swing with anything else because everything else came into play this turn or it's too small to attack. Okay, 10 Dawn turn. We're obviously going to be gaining a life this turn. We'll swing 7 with the Karasu. This is an important thing to swing for 7 with here, hoping they don't hit a Gravity Blade or the 6-cost Red Rock. We're going to swing for 7 here. That's now a 7,000 power character on my turn and my opponent's. We'll swing for 6. We'll swing for 6. And now we'll play out the Nami and we'll pop the Edward Weevil to draw a card, get a character off the board. We're actually doing pretty well now. We have 2 2K counters in hand, a 1K. There's another Gravity Blade. I think they revealed that, by the way, when they did that last attack, when it did not go through. They're going to swing it for 5. We'll give them a 1K counter. They're going to swing for 7 into our body here. I really need to save this body. If I don't save the body, then I'm probably in a lot of trouble here. It's just that simple. So we 2K to counter out. He has no more attacks for the turn that are relevant. And here we go. I have to eat this board up. I have to gain life. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So what's the first thing we should do? Let's make like a very low commitment attack here. I think, yeah. So swing 3 with the Bello Betty into the Marshall D Teach, the 3K. 3 into 3. Does he want to give me a 1K counter? I would love that because we'll go 3 more into it with Bello Betty. If he wants to give me another counter, we go 5 into it with Sabo. I don't want to attack this guy's life. Understand that? We're at the point in the game where I've basically locked the game down, but I would rather keep swinging into their board and keep it in like just in a super locked position. Beautiful. Nice. They counter out, guys. Again, we don't want to swing at their life. We want to get all the cards out of their hand, and we'll just keep gaining life. Right? That's the game plan here. So we'll swing in for 7 because we do need to go from here. I need to push a card back to my life, and I do need to attack into theirs. Okay, so push that back so nothing can hit it like a Red Rock or what's called, not Red Rock. I think Red Rock can only hit a 4 or less, but Gravity Blade can hit a 5 or less from the trigger. Okay, they smash into the Bello Betty. He can have that. I just don't need that card. I'm not worried about it. They play out Sengoku. They get a Boa Hancock. They're going to set cards to the top, smash in, and they're going to refill the board. Swing forward. He can have it. But here we go. Let's see what they do. What they choose to do now. We're just waiting on the opponent now, guys. They're going to swing for 8 into 5, and I think they're going to cheat out a Trafalgar Law. Watch this. Return Perona, return something else. What was it? Another Perona? And, yeah, we're just going to have to take this. We have no choice, and I'm going to cheat it out because I have to get aggressive this turn. I have to. Okay, here we go. So we are going to play out the Kid and Killer. Probably going to swing for 7 into the body there. Yep, into the Trafalgar Law body, which is fine. Even if they block and 2K counter out, I'm fine with that because again we're trying to get cards out of their hand, right? We need to try to win next turn. I don't think we're going to win this turn. So okay, now we can go 7 into the body, into the Trafalgar Law body first. Let's see what they give me. Okay, they gave me a 2K, 1K, 1K. I'm like, all right, well, I guess there's no way I'm going to let this go. What I probably should have done there, let me just say this. I had 1 Dawn already attached to my character. I probably should have just chanced going, okay, you know, play out the Karasu to try to chance getting both off. Because one of their characters was going to get KO'd, right? One of their characters is not surviving, especially if I'm hitting it with the Karasu. So I think that might have been a slightly more optimal play, but if they do save even one character, I automatically lose. Actually, no, I don't automatically lose because I have Karasu. See, I think the 3-cost Karasu is still my life, guys. That probably would have been the right play. Okay, here we go. Let's see what they choose to do here. They're going to play out a Perona. They're going to set their top 5. And from here, we have to just go for lethal next turn. He's going to swing in there. Okay, well, that's not good. He swings in for 8. That card's gone. I literally can't save it. Actually, it gets bumped to 9 from the effect of Boa. And he's going to swing for 5. I'm thinking, okay, that's a little dangerous. Wouldn't you say that's a little bit dangerous? And then he's going to swing in for 7. We get the Karasu blocker. We knew that was coming. He knew both these cards were coming. So here I decided to go for lethal. Pause. So I decided to go for lethal here. That was not necessarily necessary. That was not necessarily necessary. Because what I could have done there is I think I could have played out the Ivankov that's in my hand. That's a 5-cost card I drew for the turn. I could have gotten anything in my there are 3 cards I would have wanted. I would have wanted the 2K counter Koala to drop the power of one of these characters so I can attack into his board. I could have gotten something like a I could have gotten a Karasu as well to drop down the power of a character on the board, but the main thing I would have wanted was the 2K counter Koala, so I could smash into the Boa, get rid of that, smash into the Trafalgar Law, get rid of that, and then life the Karasu and sit on a card in hand. You know what I mean? And then I still have I would have 2 cards in hand because I'd have the Kid and Killer. So they would have to get through all of their attacks. They might have been able to, by the way, but they would have had to get through every one of their attacks there to beat me. That was probably the slightly safer play. That might have been the slightly safer play, or don't even risk going for the search with Imperial Ivankov and just eat this entire board and then life the Karasu and then go for a game next turn. But here we decide to go for game. So 7K is going through no matter what. If he has a Gravity Blade, I pretty much lose on the spot. If he has Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, I just lose. He didn't. Okay, well now I'm going to say, okay, well I'm going to swing for 8. Let's see if he has it. I swing for 8, and now I'm going to swing for 9. He could have 2K, 2K, 1K. He only had 2K, 2K, and then a Edward Weevil. Guys, that was terrifying. But notice this, guys. The top card of my deck was a Koala. So my little idea there would have probably worked out or potentially would have worked out. And they only had a Crocodile coming out of the top of their life. So I think going for lethal was probably the safest bet there. But I think if I could have redone the math, I think I would have gone 7. I went 8, right? So I think I probably should have just gone like, okay, 7K, 7K, 10K, or 11, or whatever it was. I think that might have been a safer play, but who knows? All right, that was the first game. Good game. That was versus Doffy. Let's go ahead and head over to another game. Not all of these are meta matchups, guys, because I'm trying to get in as much games as possible. You guys know how it goes. I just want to see how the deck is performing against the whole field as well. So we got a game here against Arlong. Going to drop down Bello Betty, do a Fire Fist search. Arlong is getting some new, really cool toys in OP10 and EB02. Or actually, it might just be EB02. I can't remember. But Arlong is getting some really cool new cards. We took first away from Arlong, and that is a very, very big deal. I swing for 5. He does not take it. He counters out, so it must not be a very strong card he put on top. He's going to swing in for 8. I'm going to take this. He cheats out of Sanji. Sure, that's fine with me. We did get a Bello Betty. Very nice. It would have been nice to have a 5-cost. Remember, guys, this is the Sergio's version of the hybrid list. So it would have been really nice if I could have gotten a 5-cost Ivankov or even a 5-cost Nami in that position. So right here, we're going to do a little searching. Neither of those cards are coming. The 5-cost Ivankov or Nami apparently were coming out of those top 5 cards. So I'm very glad I got that search out of the way to get closer to them. Playing out of Lindbergh, but not seeing the cards in my top 5 means either they're coming soon or they might be in my life already. Okay, there's a Karasu. We'll take that. He did not cheat out a card. Guys, this guy's playing very... This is a very interesting list. Let me say that. It's a very interesting list, and I just don't think it's aggressive enough for Arlong. So there's the card they set to the top of their life, and it didn't do anything. So I don't know what they were going for there, but hey, that's fine with me. We'll swing for 6 into 4 into their life, 7 into 4, they're down to 1. And guys, I mean, I don't know what this guy's supposed to do now. If I top deck any rush card, or if he doesn't clear out this whole board, he's just in trouble. Now, he did just set a card to the top of his life with his Sayori. It was a 200 million Voltamaru, which would have gave him an extra life, but it just doesn't really matter at that point, right? It's just not relevant, because when I attack in, I'm just going to eat all these cards out of his hand, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to develop like a Ben Beckman to pop his blocker before he can block with it, and so on and so forth. It's just a bad place to be in. But GG. I'm not a huge fan of that Arlong list, but I cannot wait to play with the new Arlong cards coming out. Actually, there are some in OP09 as well, so I cannot wait to play with the new Arlong cards and the new from OP09 and from OP10 and EV02. Okay, Now, next game, that was a fast one. Now we got a game versus Red Sanji. Again, all 5 of these first games are running the Hybrid Revo list. Okay, that's a much better pool for us. We will take that. We got access to, anytime I have Emporio Ivankov in hand, I'm feeling good about the game. Okay, and then going first, if we can get the 1-3-5 curve. Oh, we got the Bello Betty a little bit late, but we probably will still play that out. Or I like the Karasu since we're ready. So, okay, pause. What I probably should have done there were 2 very, very strong options. Either one was fine. It was either swing for 5, play out Karasu, which I did, or swing for 7 and play out a Bello Betty, doing some searching and fixing my hand in that way. But I think since this guy actually took the first hit regardless, even though I only swung for 5, so I think this was for sure the better play in retrospect, knowing he was going to take that hit. Okay, so we take the 5K hit. He's going to swing for, looks like 7. Okay, so I'm not sure. So this guy does mess up here unless he was just trying to draw a card. So pause. He just drew a card with Sanji. I think he really messed up there. I don't know why he did that the way he did, because he could have swung in for 5 and then 7, and that would have been like a more aggressive play line. But if he had done that, I would have 1K countered out of the Bello Betty with my Bello Betty. So I don't think it's the biggest deal. Actually, excuse me, he could have gone, yeah, this is still coming in for 5. So it wasn't a total mistake. But we're going to 1K counter out of that with the Bello Betty. I have 2 life still. And now I just get to eat up this guy's board. Okay, 5 and a 5. Let's see if he wants to give me a 2K, 1K. I believe he does, if I remember this game correctly. Yep, there's a 2K. And he had to give me 2 2Ks for that. We'll take it. Emporio Ivankov seems good. We'll do -3 there. We'll swing 4 into 0. There's no way he's saving that card after getting out of that last attack. There's no way. He's going to swing 5 into 4. You better believe I'm going to counter out of this. Absolutely, I will. Because now, do you want to attack into my life and I save the body? Sure. Okay, swings. There was an argument to save it again, guys. There was definitely an argument to save it again, but he's going to get rush. Well, not with this card. So, okay, now I remember this game. So that was not the best game. He made a blunder there. He was going to play out a character with the Tony Chopper, but he actually didn't have a legal target in his hand, because I don't think it can be, it has to be a 3,000 power or less animal character. And I don't know if it can be Tony Chopper. Let me see something. Well, no, it can be. If it's an animal character, it can be. The name doesn't matter. Excuse me. The name doesn't matter. However, he can't cheat out any of the cards that were in his hand. Notice what's in his hand. All of those are 4,000 power character animals, right? And the others aren't animals, obviously. So that was a little bit of a blunder on my opponent's part. But that game, I have almost no doubt, was just going to end very shortly after that, right? Because, okay, he plays that out. He could play out the 3-cost blocker chopper, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to attack into his board. I'm going to gain a life every single turn and go from there. So, yeah, in fact, his entire board would have been gone this turn, right? Because look what's coming next for me for 7 Dawn. Ben Beckman. So I'm going to swing 5 into the Sanji. He's going to let that go unless he wants to counter out aggressively, and I'll just swing into it with the whole board. Actually, I can swing 3 into it, 5 into it, 6 into it. He's not saving that card. And then I'm going to remove a card with Ben Beckman after that. I'm on 2 life. I'm feeling pretty safe. My counter power was not high, but I was feeling pretty safe into that matchup. Good game, though. That was a fun one. Interesting match. Interesting deck choice there for the Sanji player. Okay, now we got a game versus Smoker. We've got a game versus Smoker, and this was one heck of a game. This was against a very good player, by the way. This was against a very good player. Some people will leave their name on. Like, I always alias. No one knows when they're playing against me, right? I'm just totally... You have no idea, unless you just want to assume it's me playing Red Yellow Sabo, but even still, it's probably not, because there's a lot of people trying to collect data on this leader as is. But let me say this, this person's name was not changed. So unless they were smurfing, like I was, you know, with a different name, this was a very good player that I played against here. So I was like, all right, cool, man. Hopefully this is going to be a really good test. And they played very well. So I'm going to swing 5. I'm going to swing 5. Nothing is safe on the board against Smoker. Everything will be KO'd. Do not leave anything active. All your blockers are 1K counters. That's all they are. Okay, so right here I am going to try and flood the board to the best of my ability. There is definitely an argument to try to save this character here, but he's going to keep attacking into it. Like I said, you shouldn't even try to save characters, to be honest, unless it's just going to win you the game. And saving a character this early like Morley, no need for all that. Okay, they're going to play out the Rebecca cheating out of Brooke. He sees what I'm trying to do. Like I said, this is a very competent player, very good player. They see what I'm trying to do here. I'm going to swing 5 into 4. I'm just going to pick cards out of my opponent's hand. Totally fine with it. Ben Beckman, we'll pop that guy. The Brook was definitely a legitimate target there to go for with the Ben Beckman, but at the same time, at least when he turns that sideways, I get to attack into that card, right? And then he's not gaining cards from his life, so we do enjoy that. Okay, they're going to play out Rebecca here. That card is very strong in this list, guys. Rebecca's very strong in Smoker. They get so much value from it early on, and then what do? Later in the game, they just get more value from it by recycling it with a Gecko Moria. You know, just incredible. Okay, so let's see what we decide to do here. We'll swing 6 into 4. He'll probably give me the Rebecca. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. And let's see what they choose to do. I think they might just let it go here and save the blocker. So we're going to play this out and pop that card. I just want to keep all like the major threats off the board. I want to go double wide as much as possible. There we go. There's a Gecko Moria in their trash, and I'm very happy to see that. We like to see Gecko Moria in the trash, not in the hand. Very good. Okay, but don't worry, they have others. Don't worry. Spoiler warning, they do have others. Going to play out the Tashigi here, go -2 to that guy. Going to play out another Brook. Okay, just the 4 Brook, 4 Rebecca, 4 Gecko package goes crazy. It just absolutely goes crazy. They're going to swing for 7, and here we go. Well, I think I'm going to have to push that Nami back to life. So we're going to have to swing 6 into 4. Then we'll probably swing in here. Let's see what we can get with this effect. I was trying to see what all I could get with that. Nothing too crazy. So right here, we're probably just going to have to load this up, swing for 7 in here. I could have pushed the Nami back to life, but I don't know. I guess I'd rather recycle more cards with the Imperial Ivankov. That's drawing me through more cards in my deck. It's allowing me to do a lot of things. That's a 7,000 power 5 cost body on the board now. It's just more to deal with. They can deal with it, though. Smoker can just deal with anything, guys. It's crazy. Watch. -1 there. Let's see. They might not be able to deal with it this turn, but they can deal with it in general. 7 into 7. Oof, man, that's... I think I should save it. We do save it. I do think that was the right call there. But now we have a chance here to really put the gas on our opponent. So we'll go 7. This is going through. They're not going to give me their final 2 cards to save this attack. It's not going to happen. Then we'll go ahead and swing in this here. We'll swing in for 9. That card is massive, by the way. And it will still be an 8K on my opponent's turn, I believe, if I keep my life low. Okay, now I'm going to play out the Kuma. I'm trying to set up for a stronger turn next turn, a stronger attack next turn. And it looks like now they have -3 cost on the board permanently, and I can't deal with these Brooks now. It's too late in the game for me to focus on board removal. I have to just keep on the pressure. I have to keep on the gas. They're swinging blank attacks with these Brooks here. They're swinging for blank attacks. He still has all his Tashigi. He's playing out Kuma, was way too greedy there. I shouldn't have done that. It's fine, though. He's going to play out the Borsalino. He's going to swing in for 5 here. We're going to take that. We're going to pop the Borsalino. That was a mistake, which happens. You know, that was probably something they're probably daring me to use it anyway and saying, your last 2 card, like one of them is not a trigger, but we run a lot of triggers in this deck. And that might not have been a mistake, but I feel like it probably was because he could have just played the Borsalino afterwards, unless they didn't want me to pop the Tashigi. I have no idea. Whatever the case was, we're going to smash in for 7. He was able to get out of that, guys. That is so annoying that he's able to get out of that. So we're going to, right here, so I do think there's a slight blunder here where I swing 7 into the body. Into the body on the field when I should have just swung straight at face. Because look at this, guys. That card's not surviving. So I made a mistake, too, to totally counteract what my opponent just did. He should be on 1 life right now. That was just a mistake. Look, yeah, that card's not surviving ever. It'll never survive. And because Brook is a 4K body, that's actually just a tap KO 1 or less right now. That card is so insane. Because if he'd have swung for 5, I would have taken and just run him over on this turn, right? He would have no chance. And last turn, if I'd played out the Ben Beckman, he probably still could have removed my card, but I think I could have gone way more aggressive. But that's okay. We removed that. We're going to play out the Beckman now, and he has to do something with this. I guess I could have just pushed that to life as well. That's another option. And it's probably what I should have done, because it's like, okay, well, now you still don't get to attack, and I'm just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up and up in life, and just, you know, they can never get any board presence. And if I can ever draw into one of my 5-cost Luffys, which I run 3 in the deck, if I could just draw one of those, this game is over, right? The game is completely over. Okay, so they're going to, you know, easily pop the Beckman, swing 4. We can't even take it. I wish I could lower my own power sometimes, but hey, that's fine. We're going to swing for 9 into face. This is probably going to get the Rebecca. We're going to play out the Karasu. Going to life him. It's what I should have been doing this whole time, like with the Beckman and all that. Shouldn't even give him the chance to do the stuff they're doing. But hey, I've got 5 life. When you attack, I get a free Karasu. And then you have to keep doing that game of like, okay, well, do I keep attacking my board and doing this, doing that? And yeah, sure. I don't mind, right? I don't mind if they keep doing that. It doesn't matter to me. So -1 there. Then they'll swing in with a brook, swing in with the other brook. That's fine with me. All right, just going through the motions right now, guys. But honestly, it's going to come down to, you know, once I get to 6 or 7 life, you can't take me out in one turn. And you're giving me all my cards back. So it does get to that point where it's like, okay, what are we going to do? Okay, so they get back the Borsalino. They don't get back a 2-cost character. And now I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to smash in for everything here. I've got 7K in counter. We're going to go everything face because I know I can get that body off the board. Let's see if we can try and trick him into attacking into me, and maybe I can just counter out of it. Swings for 7. That's exactly what happens, right? I'm like, all right, let me do the math. So that was a 3 Dawn investment. Then he'll have 3 more Dawn and then 4 Dawn, right? So to be a 3-3, it's a 3-3-4 split. And that will be a 7K, 8K, 9K attack. Okay? There's basically no other way to do that unless he wanted to try to go with a 8K, 8K. Well, no. Wait, yeah, maybe an 8K, 8K, 8K attack would have been slightly better, right? Because it would have been, hang on. So 4 Dawn, or 3 Dawn was attached to Brook. 3 Dawn is on Brook, and then 1 more would have got him to 8. And then it could have been 3-3. Yeah, so maybe that would have been the closest way to being able to beat me, but it would come down to whatever the card is under my Emporio Ivankov. But he swings for 7, and I go, okay, well, that's the only attack I can get out of is a 7K. So I give him a 2K, 1K. Now watch what happens. Search, just searching and searching and searching. And he couldn't find a blocker, or unless he was searching for something else, I don't know. But he can't get out of it, and then he has no blocker, so that's game. Very good game, like I said. And, you know, that was one of the, and it looks like, oh, wait, is that my Luffy down there? There's a Monkey D. Luffy at the bottom of my life, but I don't think that's the same one. It doesn't, it might, actually might be, because I think that's the only Luffy I'm running. But if I just draw 1 Luffy, and if I don't make the 1 mistake from earlier, that would have been game 2. You know, everything would have changed. But, hey, that was a great game, again against a very good opponent. Okay, so next up we have a game versus Marco. Speed 2X. This was the newer player. I'm going to be honest, guys. I think this is a newer player. Watch this. This is an interesting deck they're running, but they're like, I think you'll see what I'm saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're trying out a new strategy, but sometimes I feel like you can tell if it's a new player. You know, like, okay, play out the Doffy. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And they're going to swing in for 5. And, guys, we're going to take it. And let's see what we get. We get a trigger. Absolutely gorgeous. Guys, we got a high roll there. We take those when we can get them. You love the high roll trigger with Cracker on the first life. Swinging for 7 with double attack. Takes it, guys. Oh, man, that hurts so bad. It doesn't hurt me, by the way. It hurts them, not me. So +1 there. Now we're going to swing in for 5. And watch this. He's going to give me a 2K. Now we're going to swing for 6. And I think he gives me the blocker right here, if I remember. Yeah. It's like, dude, if you're going to give me a blocker that turn no matter what, then just counter out of the double attack. Who knows? Maybe they wanted to draw more cards greedily. I don't know. Maybe they're going for a trigger or something. I have absolutely no idea. They're going to swing 6 and a 4. You can have it. I'm not saving that. 6 and a 5. We'll take it. We'll get the card right back. We'll trash this card. And, yeah, I've got Cracker right back in the lineup. So let's see how we do this. I think we're going to go swing 5, swing 6, pop with Nami. So swing 5 with Zoro. Let's see if they try to save it. I'm pretty sure they do. Yep. Then we'll swing 6. So they give me a 2K. And now they're going to give me a 1K. 1K. What on earth? Guys, you see what I'm saying? Like, so the inefficiency, you have to really practice your sequencing. And I'm not trying to pick on this person, you know, but we do have to call out more optimal plays. They got out of, let's go back to it real quick. So right here, when I swing in for 5 here, watch what they give me. Okay, I'm swinging for 5 and a 5. They give me a 2K counter. So now I swing 6 and a 5, and he gives me a 1K, 1K. So he basically threw away 1 card in doing that. Yeah, you got to be careful, and he really threw all 3 of them because I'm going to pop anyway with Nami. So this game is pretty much over at this point, guys. Like, I don't know what my opponent's supposed to do, but watch this. Another clear sign here. So they're doing the top search with Doffy. They're setting their top 5 cards with Doffy first. It's like, well, why don't we use the leader effect first? But instead they go with a blocker, I guess. Well, maybe that was fine. We get another trigger, guys. This is a nightmare for my poor opponent, man. This is an absolute nightmare. But hey, like I said, every now and then you just get the perfect pull. We'll take it. Swing for 5. He gives me the blocker. That should have just been a 1K in hand at this point. Swing for 5. Because he could have kept that as a 1K in hand and then dropped the power of my Charlotte Cracker down and just smashed into it and used it as a 1K from hand. But okay, that's fine. Swing 6 into 5 here. I think we'll swing 7. We'll push this card to life and swing 7 into 5 with this card. This will get the Doflamingo. It should get Doffy out of the way, or they can counter out aggressively. And then here, so here's the beauty, pause. Here's the beauty of the situation we're in now. If he blocks and we get rid of the blocker, we get to drop down Emporio Ivankov and fill out our board with 2 characters. If he doesn't block and he 2K 1Ks, we'll just slam down a Nami and pop his only character and draw a card as well. We'll cycle out a 2K for another card. This is just an absolute checkmate position. The guy made some pretty big mistakes. They do tap out here. Our next card was a Ben Beckman. Very nice. You know, it was just, whew, this was a rough game for our opponent. Okay, so that was the 5 games of the Red Yellow Sabo hybrid list. It's running very smoothly. Guys, I queued up 5 games. I won 5 games. It felt very good to me. Now, for the next one here, we're going to be going into the Trigger Aggro list. The same one we showed off. This is Ricky G's version. I did not modify these at all. The first one was Sergio's version, card for card. And the second one here is Ricky G's version, card for card. No difference, no changes made. All right, here we go. So we're going to swing 5 into 5 here. He's going to use the leader effect. That's fine. We'll swing 5 more in with the Zoro. Swinging in with Zoro is not as scary as it used to be, unless you're playing against like a Shanks, not Shanks, excuse me, a Lucci, where they can just pop it for sure. Swing in for 5 because they want to play a 4-cost character. Sure, I'll 1K counter out, no problem. Okay, so here we go. We're going to swing in for 5. Again, give me your leader effect right away, so that way I can swing in with other stuff and play stuff or counter out, whatever you want to do. They take it. We'll swing in for 6. They didn't even use their leader effect this turn. They're flustered at this point, and then we're going to slam down a Inarashi. I didn't want to play out the Kikanojo yet, just in case. Well, I guess if they have, what's his name, it won't matter anyway. I guess if they have, oh, by the way, we took that hit, and we got a Charlotte Cracker from life. I guess it doesn't matter if I play out Kikanojo anyway, because if they KO it with a Ben Beckman, it's not KO, it's a trash, right? So I won't get the effect regardless, but with Rayleigh, it will. So maybe it was better to play out the Kikanojo later, so that way it becomes scary for them to play out it becomes a little more scary for them to play out the Rayleigh to pop my Kikanojo. Okay, swing 6. Swing 6. We're just getting all the cards out of their hand, eating up their leader effect. He probably should have blocked that. He probably should have blocked and used leader effect to save a card. That's fine. We'll get out of that one, or we'll play this out. And there it is. There's the Rayleigh I was just talking about. Now, they do have 4 life, so they're going to get away with it this time. I could have sworn I was going to get through this turn, but hey, doesn't always work out. I probably could have done a more aggressive play there by pushing it to life, but I don't know. It is what it is. There's a Tropical Torment. All things are fine in the end. And we'll go 6 in the face. It's like, hey, maybe I should attack his character. No. After he used the leader effect, then yeah. And we actually got the character, which was nice. But hey, we're looking at a pretty good board now. They'll swing 5 into 5. You can have it. Swings in. We get a trigger body. A very nice trigger body there for free. I'm not sure what that was. Oh, I got the Charlotte Cracker trigger. We're coming in for 7. Okay, we'll push that to life. We're coming in for 6. This guy either has it or he doesn't. So right here, I'm like, okay, I can still play out my blocker. Let's see what happens. I'll swing 6. I'm like, wait, what? No way he takes a 6K when I have this much left. I'm like, you don't have anything left. He's already used his leader effect too, by the way. Or no, he hasn't. Sorry, the minus 1,000 was from the Shanks. So that's all he had left in hand. We got out of that one. When he didn't counter out of that 6K attack with like a random like 1K or a 2K, it's like, well, then I'm just going to punish this guy and we're just going to go for it. If he wins, he wins. If not, you know, we lose, whatever, who cares? Because otherwise, if he had countered out when I thought he was going to, I would have just played out the Shanks, or I mean, excuse me, the Sanji, and we would have tried our best to survive there. We wouldn't have, by the way. He'd have ran us over, but still, that would have been my game plan. Okay, good stuff. We got that first game there against Shanks. Now we got another game versus Marco. This is a different Marco than the last time. But I've been seeing a bunch of Marcos randomly on the sim. Okay, so here we go. We did get the 10-cost Roger. I have to say, some people have been reporting success with Roger. I have not. I have not had any success with the 10-cost Roger so far. I just either run people over too fast, or we don't make it that late in the game for it to matter. So 5 into 5. I love just hitting for 5s, guys. I absolutely love. It's like a guilty pleasure at this point. I just love swinging in for all these 5s. Like, yep, 5/5/5. You want to counter out? Cool. You're down to 2 cards. Your turn. Play out a 6 cost. Your turn. He plays out a king do. He's trying to keep pressure on the board. He looks at his top card of his deck. Let's see what he does with it. He might go top or bottom with it. I think he put on the bottom. -2 to my Kikanojo. He's going at my face. I'm like, dude, I'm running a pure trigger. A pure trigger list. I guess he doesn't know that. We'll counter out of one of them so we don't go to 0. But we got a card from his life with a Tropical Torment trigger. And now, guys, it is absolutely over. 5/5. Oh, man, he stopped giving me cards, man. Come on, dude. Like, I'm trying to eat this guy's entire hand up, and he's just, taking cards off the board. Okay, nice. I don't think he realizes he should have put my Kikanojo on the bottom of the deck, but we'll take it. He did get rid of my blocker, which was fine, but hey, that's still a good play, but I needed him not to use anything on the Kikanojo. Okay, so he's going to pop the smoothie there. He put a Dawn on his guy. Just mistakes after mistakes, guys. Swings in for 5. Well, okay, well now you pretty much, you got yourself with that one. We'll swing in for 7. Let's see if he can survive this. That'll be a 1K. Okay, not sure. Swing in for 9. GG. He only has 2 cards left. He couldn't get out of any of my attacks, guys. It was going to be swing 7, swing 8, swing 9, or something along those lines. GG. That was a fun game. Really good, really fast start there from us too, guys. If you try to get aggressive with this list, it's like it attacks back, man. It hits back so hard. Next up, we got a game with the aggro list versus Purple Luffy. Okay, again, guys, it's almost like this deck should have like a nickname of like Thorns, where it's like the harder you hit me, the harder I hit you. Like every damage you're doing to me is actually going to be damage back to you, because all of the cards in this deck are either rush or trigger cards, like we already saw, and that is a good feeling, guys, especially when we can gain life. It's a really good feeling. So he's going to swing 5/5. I love running out the Zoro right now in the current meta. I feel like it survives most of the time. So it's like, okay, swing out the Zoro, or sling out the Zoro, swing in with it. We're getting cards from his life. Now he's going to be scared to use his leader effect. We're going to swing in for 5 more. We're just poking this guy. So he swing 5, swing 6. And then it's probably going to be play out the Inarashi or the Charlotte Cracker. Or, yeah, maybe even the Zoro. I don't like playing out the Zoro here, though. We'll play out Inarashi in case he has like a little, 3-cost target. Because I'm sure he's going to use his leader effect this turn to go up to 7. Okay, 6/5. That's annoying. And he's going to probably play out the 7-cost Sanji. It's such a good play here. Play out this... but he doesn't have it. Playing out the Sanji there and attacking my Inarashi would have been massive there, guys. It would have been so massive. So swing for 7. We can't pop anything on the board, but who cares? Now we can push this card back to life for free. We're going to push this card out, push that to life, swing for 7, and then we're going to swing for 7 more. Absolute brutality here, guys. So now when he attacks me, I get a trigger body back into play for free because my opponent has 3 or less life cards. And I have a 7,000 power body on the board. In fact, if he wants to swing into that, I don't even care, right? It's like, yeah, you can just probably have that card. We might 1K counter out of this. No, we don't even 1K counter out. It's like, no, I want you to attack me. I want my bodies on the board. Go ahead. Yep, that's a free body. You want to keep attacking me? You want to see if I'm just getting lucky? Now, he did get a Sanji there. That was really nice. He swings for 5. I'm like, no. Keep attacking me. I need you to keep attacking me so I can get some more triggers on the board. Too smart. These guys are too smart, man. These guys are too smart. But that's okay. We're going to swing in for 8 and then 9 with Kid and Killer and say, hey, I dare you to attack me for the rest of the game, right? If they can even survive this. So they can't survive. They only had a 2K and a 1K in hand. So they couldn't even get out of the 8K attack, to be fair. So it's not like they misplayed. They were just all out of counter power. And that's why I love beating in for 1Ks throughout the entire game. Just swing for 5, swing for 5, swing for 5, swing for 5. What do you have left? Oh, just bricks? Sounds good to me. We'll take it every time. All right, we got 2 more games. These trigger rush games are fast, guys. These trigger rush games are very fast. We got a game here against Marshall D. Teach. You're about to see, at least to some extent, what this deck does to poor old Marshall D. Teach. And you're going to see why it's a 25-0 list right now against it. And this is a game I did not even get Tropical Torment, guys. I did not even get a Tropical Torment on turn 2. So swing 5, swing 5. He has to remove this card here or it just gets too crazy. He hit me with a Shigan Finger Pistol. That's fine. He swings in, and we didn't even get a trigger, guys. That's wait, what did we get? Hang on. What did he attack in? He swung in for 5. We get a Roger. We get Goldie Roger. Should have been a trigger, but that's okay. We'll swing in for 6. You want to give me a 2K? You have 5 cards in your hand. He didn't even use his leader effect last turn, guys. It doesn't even matter, though. Now we're going to play out Charlotte Cracker. The only way for him to get rid of this card is with Liberation, because otherwise I can trash the top card of my deck, but he has Liberation, of course. He's going to use his leader effect this turn, I think. He should have started using it last turn, to be fair, but I guess maybe he just knew I was running the trigger version. He swings in. Oh, man. Pause. Pause. Let's just appreciate what just happened. He attacks in, drops me down to 2 life. He's still at 3 life. I get a cracker trigger. We'll trash the Lindbergh. That's a really cool Doc Q you have on the board, by the way. I must say, you know, that Doc Q is doing absolutely nothing right now because I'm just running straight rush, straight triggers. And here we go. Swinging in for 9 with double attack, guys. This is with double attack because he has more life than me. Okay. He's going to have to give me a 2K, 2K, 1K. Doesn't have it. And now guess what? We'll push this guy back to life. So now we're going to swing in for 9. And look what I have coming next turn. Guys, he's on his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th on turn. So I was 7. He'd be 8 next time. I'd be on 9, so I would swing for 5 with my leader, and then play out the Luffy and swing for 10 unblockable. Now, he would have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6K counter in hand, so he could have gotten out of 1, but how are you also getting out of everything else that I'm swinging for? You know, it just becomes such a nightmare. And what was he going to play this turn? He was probably going to play something with a counter in it, you know, a counter from his hand. Wait, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. So, whatever the case was. Good game. We got one more, and this one's another Red Sanji. Guys, if you're looking for the most aggressive decks in the format, I don't think it's Red Sanji. It's either Bello Betty or Sabo, especially this Trigger Rush version of Sabo. These have got to be like the most aggressive decks in the format. Maybe Green-Yellow Yamato in a full Trigger version, or Green-Yellow Arlong in a full Trigger version. Maybe those can compete, but Red-Yellow Bello Betty and Red-Yellow Sabo with the full, you know, the packages we were just talking about, like the Trigger Rush for Sabo and just normal for Bello Betty. Those have got to be the most lightning fast decks in the format, even faster than Sanji, I think. But we'll see what happens in the future. Oh, what do you know? We'll take that trigger. Man, this guy was aggressively taking life, and I hit him with a Tropical Torment, so I'm not even going to get the full value from Cracker, so we're just going to play it out. We'll swing in for 5. We'll swing in for 6. Let's see what he chooses to do here. I think we got him with that one. Okay, now he had a 1K left. We'll play out Kikinojo, your turn. There was probably a safer play there where we life the Cracker, like we just go for the Zoro, but oh well. Like I said, guys, this is like the Thorns deck where it's like every time you hit me, you're taking damage back. Because watch this, swing for 5. I will get out of an easy 5K attack. There's no reason to take unnecessary damage here. Okay, swing for 7. We get a Kid and Killer. Swing for 8. Okay, we get Cracker. Very nice. He can have this Pirate King here, or we get rid of the Luffy actually. I kept trying to make the Pirate King work, the Goldie Roger card, but it just never did for me, guys. We'll go 8 into 6. Let's see if he wants to give me that blocker. He gives me a 2K, 1K. Beautiful. Push that back. We'll swing 8 into it again. That's an 8K body on the board now, and I dare him to attack into it. I'll draw a card every time, or I'll gain a life every time from it. And now we'll go 7 into 6. Now we're going to go 8 into 6. Okay. Well, that's a wrap. You know, that's pretty much all she wrote, right? Because... well, I don't know. I guess they could still, at this point, like, attack me down for 2 life a turn, and I can only really gain 1 life a turn. But look what they're giving me, guys. Okay, 8 into 8. We're going to take it. We get a Kuma trigger, too. You knew it was coming. And I have a double attacker on the board. Watch this. We'll swing in for 7. They take it. Okay, very smart of them. I was hoping they'd counter out, so it'd be easier for this attack to go through with Cracker. I'm coming in for 9. It would take every card out of their hand here, and I still have 3 attacks left. So I could just eat the board and then just, you know... chill from there, or I don't know, just go for it. Swing for 5, swing for 6, swing for this, 7, and then swing for Kid and Killer 7, GG. That was a fun one. That was a good game. I think this Sanji player did pretty well. I think they played very well, but I just had too much in the end for them to deal with. Okay, guys, that's it. That was all the games we had lined up. Let me go ahead and bring back the decks to kind of talk about those one more time, because I know some revisions are taking place. People are starting to revise the decks a little bit. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with this list. I think it's pretty much set, the one that Sergio came out with, and I think everyone's pretty happy with the way this list is performing. Same idea with the version that Ricky G came out with, but these were some of the changes that I had in mind for it, and I think he also shared the same idea with some of the, not all the cards, because I think he really liked Goldie Roger in the list, and he was saying that it won him a lot of games. But one thing I'm interested in doing is going down, like getting rid of the Goldie Rogers, going up Pero, Sparrow, and Moscato, so I have more trigger bodies. And notice this, guys, no Kikinojo, no, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Inarashi, no Nekomamushi, I want as consistent triggers as possible. The only card I'm okay with not being a consistent body trigger in the deck is, of course, the 2K counter Kuma, because it's still a 2K counter, so it's doing its job in that regard, but it still has trigger potential. And as aggressive as this list is, like, we're taking life hyper aggressively, and so is our opponent, you know, with all the attacks we're swinging in with, and even cards like Tropical Torment. But I could see replacing this card for something else, because it is so annoying when you hit this and it's not a trigger body. It's the worst feeling in the world. But at the same time, everything else in here, notice this, guys. This will always come into play. So will this one. So will this one. So will this one. This one. This one. This one. This one. And this one. All of this is the direction I'm leaning with the trigger deck. I have not tried this yet. This is untested. You guys are getting the alpha version, like before. You know, this isn't even the beta version that's been tried out. It's like before that, like alpha for the version that I'm messing around with for Red Yellow Sabo. If you guys want to give it a try, by all means, do it and tell us how it goes. Report the report your findings back to the Discord, so we can put those into the results tab, you know, of the spreadsheet we have. So this is the direction that I'm leaning with the trigger version. I'm waiting to see what Ricky does with his, because he was the two main cards he was talking about was Moscato, which I absolutely love. That I got this idea from him with the Parasparrow, because notice how many Big Mom Pirates cards we have now. We have Smoothie, Cracker, Parasparrow, Moscato, and Cracker, and Tropical Torment. So that is 24 targets that we can hit with our Parasparrow. That's half the deck. That's half the deck, guys. Because remember, he can even snag himself, right? He can even search up himself, but he can't search up Sanji. That was only something Pudding could do, because Pudding was a one-cost top 4 searcher that could search up any Big Mom Pirates type card other than Pudding, or it could search up Sanji. I worded that wrong, but y'all understand what I'm saying. Okay, so that's this list. Very solid. These Kid and Killers and these Luffys just go crazy. Some people might want to keep in the Zoro, and I totally understand that. I could see you running that instead of the Morley. I just like running the 3 Luffys and the 3 Kid and Killers, though. And because what I did is I replaced the Zoros with Morley, so that way I could just jam it on turn 2 and swing on the next turn. That's fine. If they get rid of it, that's fine. But if that's the rate that I play it, though, think about it. Now I have a turn 2 play in Morley, Moscato, or Parasparrow, and I want to push these to my life. Like, typically speaking with Zoro, with this version of the list, I don't want to save it. I actually just want to attack in and keep developing my board, so I have more and more attacks every turn. And then if he gets greedy and tries to attack into my board with not enough, I'll just counter out and save my guy. But like this, it's been running very well. Or you know, with the way it is, where we just attack in, it's running really well. But I think with this version, so I got a little sidetracked there. I was checking the time, but we're doing fine. I think this version will perform very well, but we'll have to see. Lindbergh in this deck is literally just a trigger body that could potentially clear up some little blockers like Rebecca, the two cost 2Ks, and little cards like that, because there is no power reduction in this list, but it's still a trigger body that will always come into play. I just have to trash a card for it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with this. At some point, I would like to mess around with the idea of Nika, Robin, because look at all these 3-cost yellow targets I have. I have 8 3-cost yellow targets. I can either get the Moscato or the Parasparrow, because remember, guys, this can cheat out a yellow character with a cost of 3 or less from your hand as the trigger. And then, you know, it comes into play. If I play it out, then I can just pop something. It's still a trigger, but it's not the trigger we really want. Let's just be honest. However, if you have this in life and you have a Moscato or a Parasparrow in hand, it kind of works as that trigger, right? Because instead of having to play out the Parasparrow from life and trashing a card, you're trashing this card that was the trigger and playing out the card from your hand. So it's like the reversed type of action there. So it's like if we can fit in one more 3-cost body, let me just look that up real quick while we're talking about it. Preferably not Bello Betty. Preferably not Bello Betty. Or Karasu, because they're just not dependable bodies that can come into play. But same thing with Braum. I wish this card was more dependable, because I would run it in a heartbeat. But yeah, we'll have to think about that. We'll have to put some more ideas in. Oh, this was another card that Ricky said. This is another 3-cost 4K, 1K counter Big Mom Pirate searchable card. If you have less life cards than your opponent, this character gains plus 1,000 power. Discard a card to play the card from trigger. So if we can find a way to fit something like this into the deck, maybe even over the Morley. I don't know. I like how Morley's unblockable, though. I do think that's actually relevant sometimes. But Morley, very strong in this position. Potentially, maybe remove Lindbergh. We'll have to see. If we can somehow fit that in with where is it? With this card right here. With the Charlotte Bavar. I don't know how to say that name, guys. Bavarois. It's probably something French sounding like Bavarois or something like that. I don't know, but however you say it, if we could fit that in, then there might be even more of an argument to fit in this card. But then you're starting to move the deck away from the original design. It's something we have to work on, guys. It's still in the works. It's not finished yet. Definitely share your comments in the comment section what you guys think about it. Okay, last but not least, so this is the other one, the hybrid version. I'm going to remove the leader again so it fits perfectly on one line. These Charlotte, if you get a Charlotte Cracker early enough, this card can just win you a game. I've won games off Charlotte Cracker, so like part of me wishes it was a 4 of instead of a 2 of, but what more can we change? We don't want to change too much around. That's the thing. There's a delicate balance with each of the decks we just saw. With a trigger rush list, if you remove too many trigger bodies, all of a sudden it doesn't feel good anymore, right? All of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm about to take a hit, trigger. Oh, nope, it's not, right? Because if you moved around too much, you start messing with the ratios. Same thing with this list. Notice, guys, in the games I showed today, I whiffed one of my Imperial Ivankov searches. Now, there are quite a few whiffs. There's more than you might think in this list. For example, so there's 3 Ben Beckman, 2 Luffy, so that's 5. There are 3 Nami, 2 Satoris, 2 Crackers, and 2 Fire Fist. And then the Imperial Ivankov itself. So there's like 15 or 16 cards you can whiff with on this list. However, that's still a very good ratio, right? If like 45 cards on the deck are still hits, that's very good because you're doing a top 3 search. Every now and then you whiff, but it's not a big deal. It happens. It's just something you have to deal with, right? You have to learn to deal with it. That's just how searchers are sometimes. Because sometimes, I mean, I'll be honest, guys, even with Bello Betty in a full Revo list, I'll do a top 5 search in a full Revo list. And it's like, this is a whiff because I needed a specific card. So, like, it can happen no matter how consistent you make your deck. But with this list in particular, I think these ratios are looking pretty good. I would like to go up the count for Revo cards in the list. Well, actually, let me see something. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So that's 12. That's actually pretty good. 12 non-Revo cards in the list. And then Kin Killer's 14. I think that's probably fine. 14 to 15 tops. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what we can mess around with. Maybe it needs to be closer to a 70-30 list. See, that's what I kept trying to play with. It's like, at first I had a 75-25 list. Actually, excuse me. First I had an 80-20 list. Then I made it into a 75-25 list, and it might need to be a 70-30 list. Like maybe that's the secret, yeah, the perfect spot, the top spot to be at, the sweet spot. That's the word I was looking for. I was like, what's that expression? That might be the sweet spot. Is like 70-30 for the ratio, where it's like, yes, you technically will whiff these a little more often, but if it makes the consistency of your deck better against certain matchups like Doffy, which are more prevalent in the format, maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. But I will say this right now, guys. I do think that we can get around not playing Cracker in this version of the list. I love running the Ben Beckman because, again, let me show you guys the version I was running. I was running this version here where I was trying out a bunch of different events. It is what it is. But I was running the Nika Robins, the Jory Bonnies, and the Namis when it's like, okay, you know what? The only thing we really need, I do like Jory Bonnie. Let me say that right now. Jory Bonnie has been very good for me, and that's why I was running the Nika Robin because I had 7 3-cost targets I could cheat into play, or I'm just ripping their life from curve, right? I'm just ripping their life right off of curve. But let me say this. We don't necessarily need the Nika Robin. The strongest aspect of the excuse me, of the Revo hybrid list is actually this idea of like what's I think it's being better personified in this list is we have this perfect Revo curve. Like the Revo curve is all there. It's all the best Revo cards curving out. And you can make minor adjustments here and there. Like if you don't have this card, or if you don't want the card, or you don't like it, just run like a 4-cost Inazuma here. You can run something like that, or a 3-cost Jory Bonnie, or, well, I would be careful with Jory Bonnie because that's not a Revo type. Be careful with the typing, but you guys get my point. You can change this out for something out, maybe even the 3-cost Inazuma. However, you have like this perfect package of Revo Army in the deck, and then the cards that are not Revo Army are really just your finishers. Cards like Luffy, or like your utility removal in cards like Nami and Ben Beckman. So that's something you're going to have to consider going forward with this list. But I think this is a great point to leave the deck off at. I highly recommend the 2 lists that I showed today, guys. If you're trying to play Red, Yellow, Sabo, and OP09, and you're trying to be competitive about it, I think the 2 lists that we saw today, Ricky G's Trigger Rush version and Sergio's Hybrid Control version, Yeah, I think that's your best bet going forward, guys. And again, if you want to help us with it, get in some extra stats, tell us what you're struggling with, so we might be able to tech the deck into certain areas and into certain directions. Especially if in your locals you expect it like all Doffy, well, we'll show you, like, or we can talk in there about what deck is better to run. But with that in mind, I'm going to end it there, guys. I've been yapping for way too long. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions on this, please don't hesitate to ask or put it in the comment section below. If you guys have any ideas, please say something. I'm always trying to expand my, my red, yellow Sabo idea base. I'm always trying to think outside the box, right? When you stop learning, you're basically losing, right? Like when you stop learning something, you're going in the wrong direction. So you become unapproachable. It's like, no, I always have something to learn. Red, yellow Sabo's my main. It's like, that's my baby, right? This is my deck. I always have something to learn, guys. I always have a new card to try out. Always, always, always. Just keep going. So if you guys come across something, please say it in the comment section below. That's where I'm going to end it off, though, today, guys. Tell me what you think down there. Which deck did you like the best? Please don't be afraid to use that Google Docs sheet. I mean, it is locked. You cannot interact with it. It's like viewers only. However, you'll be able to hop on there, bookmark it, save it, so you can see how the matchups are going, because I'm going to try to update that list as much as possible. Okay, guys? All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Let's get the playmat page on here. Big shout out to everybody who supports the channel, guys. Whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, whatever you're doing, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Big shout out to the VV Pirates playmat supporters. Thank you guys so much for buying the mat. Hope y'all are enjoying those. And of course, the patrons. Excuse me. Thank you guys so much. And you guys are helping by going above and beyond, just trying to keep me afloat over here and keep the channel going, keep the dream alive. All right, we're done. I'm done, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Please do not forget to like, subscribe. Until next time, guys. Peace.